Are you serious? I had two experiences today which really drove home how important that point was. And it's a great question to ask yourself. The first was a call I had with a mentee named John. He's got a business which he has grown pretty impressively. And he was telling me about an interaction with one of his managers. And in that, the manager was on vacation, but Jonathan actually, needed to answer a question. So he sent him a text. And the reply he got was, I'm on vacation. You need to respect my time and my work-life balance. Wow. I looked at that, and yes, he's a young kid, but if you want to progress, you want your bosses, your partners, the people around you on a dream team to look at you and say, this guy is really, or gal, is really serious and will do whatever it takes. And that oftentimes gets in the way of a work-life balance. Just depends how focused you are. If you take a look at Olympians and the sacrifices they make to get to that top level, it's extraordinary. There is no balance. You listen to their stories, and they were up at 3 or 4 in the morning to go to gymnastics, training camps, and work out. Oftentimes were homeschooled so that they could still do more workout, and they chose what was most important to them. And when you get a message like, you need to respect my work-life balance, for me, that's when you start to look for another person. I think my reaction to that would have been, you don't have to worry about a work-life balance anymore because you no longer have work, at least with me. Is that harsh? Yeah, I guess it is. But are you serious? Again, back to the original point. And when things get tough, that's when people need to step up. Sometimes that's at very inconvenient times. It may be anniversaries, birthdays, whatever. But again, finding people who are committed is incredibly important. The second thing that drove that point home was an email that I received from Dan Pena. I think, as many of you know, he's been my mentor for 26 plus years now. And he was answering the question for a bunch of mentees as to why they are not more successful. He said he's asked that all the time. Why am I not more successful? And he went through and he included a weekly report from a mentee. Now, remember, this is a weekly report. And he attached it basically. I don't think he actually redacted anything from it. And when I looked at it, it was 16 pages long. Now, did that take some time to do? Absolutely. But 16 pages of activity in 1 week, there's no doubt in my mind that that person will succeed. It's the primary focus on what he's trying to do. He's spending the time in it. He's organized to the point that he can actually keep track of what he's doing, put it down in a report. And it was a good example of a comparison between a 2-line weekly report. I mean, candidly, I see some of those that, not much happened this week. My emotional bank account is low. I don't know why I can't get motivated. And take a look at the difference between that and what this person did. Now, how does one person behave that way and another not behave that way? I think the first thing is that whatever you're doing has to be tremendously important to you and has to have something you can wrap your passion around. And that's why when I'm asked to suggest an industry to somebody, I can give them some help in some of the criteria. But I always say the same thing when they say to me, I don't care what the industry is, I just want to make a lot of money. And I say always, that's not good enough. QLA, as I've said hundreds, if not thousands of times, is simple. But simple is not the same as easy. And at some point, you will be tested. You'll hit roadblocks. And if it's not something that's important to you, it's too easy to say, boy, I never thought it would be like this. And I don't think this is what I want to do, and away you go in some other direction. If it's something you're committed to do, and you know that the plan is solid, and you've got people around you that see that commitment and share the same commitment, you will just look at those problems, and they are problems, as a speed bump along the way. So I would encourage you to think about what it is you do on a daily and weekly basis and use that barometer. Use the barometer of, am I serious about this? Is this the most important thing that you have? Those are personal decisions, and I'm not going to tell you that one is right and one is wrong. I will tell you that if you want to achieve in business in a big way, that will come with a pay price to action and sacrifices. I remember Dan and I had an instance years ago when we were describing some of the things that we went through, not being there for kids' birthdays and events that a lot of people would say you should be there for. That had a price. It had a price on our family. It had a price on relationships. That was consciously made by us. But it was something we chose to do. That's how important it was. Now, we had a guy in an audience say, you know what? I'm not willing to do that. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to be there for these events. And both of us said the same thing. That is absolutely fine. What he also said is, I really do appreciate your talk today, because I've been beating myself up over why I'm not more successful and why this is not something that's come together for me. And when I take a look at the sacrifices that some people have made that have been successful, I now know that that's not a price I'm willing to pay. And we both said to him, good for you. If you came to that realization as a result of this, that's fantastic. So I'd ask you to reflect on that. Decide what's important and what is your pay price to action. And that's a very, very, very personal decision. But it's one that's important, because this is, I think, worth the journey. The rewards are worth it. But that's something that you have to decide for yourself. Okay, I hope that was helpful. And have a good week, and have a great weekly report. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments or ideas for future episodes, please email bruce@brucewhipple.com. And if you're not already on our mailing list, head over to brucewhipple.com and sign up and grab any of the free reports. That'll put you on the mailing list. There is a lot of free information you can use to acquire already profitable businesses. This is Bruce Whipple. Thanks for listening to the Business Acquisition Podcast. And remember, you miss 100% of the opportunities you fail to take. And procrastination truly is the thief of time. So do something today, please. Your future self will be proud of you.